September 2nd, 2025 is hereby called to order at 5:01 p.m. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Barrero.
Present.
Alderwoman Garza.
Present.
Alderman Masiacos.
Present.
Alderman Nunez.
Here.
Alderman Franco.
Here.
Alderman Seville.
Here.
Alderman Benuelos.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderman Bug. Alderwoman Bade.
Here.
Alderman Larson.
Here.
Alderman White.
Here.
Mayor Lash is present.
Thank you. And will the clerk please read the first agenda item, approval of the minutes?
250653, approval of the minutes of the Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 Committee of the Whole.
So moved.
Is there a motion to approve the
Second.
minutes Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 Committee of the Whole meeting as presented? A motion was made by Alderwoman Smith, seconded by Alderwoman Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries by voice vote. Next agenda item, the mayor's report. John?
Thank you so much, Mayor. A celebratory night here in Aurora. Two big honors. We're going to start off with Cavalry Church of Aurora Naperville. They completed a critical mission project for Oak Park Elementary School. Let's give them a round of applause for their great work in the community. And they are well represented here tonight. We're going to invite the mayor to come on down. We have Mayor's Awards of Excellence for 10 members of the church who really went above and beyond to help bring this project to completion. We also have Oak Park Elementary School's principal, Annette McMahon, here in the building. Let's give her a round of applause as well. To talk about the significance of the project to the school. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read down the list. When you hear your name called, come on up. We'll give you a round of applause, and we'll get some remarks from the mayor as well and from the senior pastor over at Cavalry. So we'll start with Marty Sloan. Let's have Marty Sloan come on up. And Mayor, if you'd like, you could read the first one. All of them say the same thing, so we'll read the first one. Everybody could pose for a photo, and then we'll keep moving.
That sounds perfect. So, to Marty Sloan for your commitment to serving the Oak Park Elementary School, working with Calvary Church to demonstrate exceptional volunteerism, dedication, and care to the city. I want to just say thank you, and happy to present you with this award of excellence.
And we will get remarks from Marty Sloan in addition to the mayor once we get everybody up. So we'll start next. Sarah Dawes, please come on up. We have next up Miguel Cervantes. Coming up next, Nicole Cervantes. Let's bring her up. Coming up next, Jeannie Carrillo. And next up, Juan Carrillo. Bring him up. Coming up next, Esvin Polanco. Esvin Polanco, thank you for your commitment and hard work. Three more next to call. Uni Muñiz Camacho. Next up is Doug Daly. Clap it up for Doug. And finally, Edward Rios. Let's call up Edward Rios. We'll also invite up Oak Park Elementary's principal, Annette McMahon, as well. Please join them up front. Absolutely. Any alderman who'd like to come down and join Cavalry up here, please feel free to do so.
Good to see you. I represent Calvary.
Correct.
And he represents the school.
Perfect. Beautiful. So let's start with some remarks first. Senior Pastor Sloan, if you'd like to step up to the microphone and talk about the significance of this project.
Just want to say thank you to the mayor for this opportunity to come and just share with you guys today. Also to the school for the participation. We want to be an advocate for our school, for our kids and families. We thank God for the chance to do just that, to bring health, to bring hope, to bring peace in their lives. And we're here to serve Aurora. We thank God that we're blessed to be in this city for a reason, and we say thank you for all your openness to us, and we're here to serve you any way we can from Calvary Church. By the way, Calvary Church is a church of 72 nations and 2 distinct language congregations, Spanish and English, and so we love the fact that Aurora is a very diverse city, as we're also a very diverse church. We thank God for putting Calvary where it is today to meet the needs of our city as we're able to do so. Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the school for all your help in this conversation. Thank you. And to our Alderman, thank you.
We'll also hear from Mayor John Lash, talk more
Sure,
about this project.
I'll keep it real brief and short. Oak Park Elementary was on the watch list when I was first on the school board, and I think that your hard work, dedication to our students is what put us in a position that we're in today, but also the community volunteers shows that the community is backing you and backing our students, and that means a lot moving forward. So definitely thanks to all of the Calvary Church volunteers. It's my understanding we had a much longer list, but we wouldn't all fit up here, so thank everybody who wasn't able to attend tonight. And other than that, we want to make sure, yeah, come on up. Alderman White, do you want to join us?
We have Mr. and Mrs. White, Alderman Will White's parents, walking up as well, along with Alderman Will White coming
Who
down,
also
too.
volunteered and participated and may have had a hand in making all this happen. And then I'd just like to, if you'd like to say anything, either of the older people. Sure.
Absolutely. So, Calvary Church, my gosh, what can I say about you guys? You've always been there when needed. Whenever the call has come, you guys have answered, and you've always come out in great force. You know, the amount of volunteers that you bring for each and everything you do is very impressive, and we in Aurora are happy to have you here. I have to keep reminding some people that even though that's a Naperville address, that's an Aurora, that is Aurora, and then that is part of my ward. So thank you for what you've done to, for our schools. And again, we know that we can always count on you for anything that we need, and you guys, you know, come out first class and always willing to help. So.
Alderman White, any comments? Javier's declined, so Alderman Banuelos declined. I figured I'd give you a shot.
Okay. Well, Pastor, I just wanted to say I've been to your church several times, and your church lives out the mission of service, lives out the mission of supporting the community. And if every church in our area did 1/10 of what you all do, our city will look totally different. Supporting the churches is very important, and I want to ensure that this relationship continues with the nonprofits as well as the city.
We'll also invite up Oak Park Principal Annette McMahon to talk more about what this means to Oak Park Elementary.
Sorry. So I'm Annette McMahon, the very proud principal of Oak Park in East Aurora, District 131. So on behalf of our school, I wanted to extend our deepest gratitude to Calvary for your incredible generosity and support. Your donations and kindness have made a lasting impact, not only within our school walls, but throughout our Oak Park entire community, the neighborhood, everyone around us. Thanks to your contributions, our staff now have a beautiful new lounge, a peaceful space where teachers and staff can reflect, recharge, and feel cared for. This gift goes far beyond furniture and paint. It reminds our team that their hard work and dedication are valued and that they too deserve a place of rest and renewal. Your commitment to helping others is felt by every child and family, every staff member at Oak Park School. And by lifting us up, you help us give our very best to our students each and every day. So from the bottom of our hearts, thank you, Calvary, for being such an important part of the Oak Park family and for continuing to invest in the well-being of our community. So we thank you. On behalf of my whole staff, I thank you so much.
Thank you. Take a group shot.
Justin. All right, everyone try to get into like some rows where you can. Squeeze in as much as you can. Yeah. Go ahead. I'll come over here.
So let's have some come up.
Yeah, we have some in the front, if you don't mind, the second row in the front, that'd be great. That way we can make sure we get everybody in together.
No, I'm good. No, you guys are great. No, I'm fine. Just want our heads to pick through. Yep, your heads through. Get your heads through. Make sure you can see him.
All right, can you guys see me? Perfect, that means I can see you. Are you ready? 1, 2, and clear, right this way. Perfect, thank you guys.
Give it up again for Cavalry Church and for Oak Park Elementary. Really amazing project and a great opportunity to help out East Aurora School District as well, 131. One more presentation here to come as we talk about East Aurora School District 131. We'll let Cavalry depart for a moment. So the Fiestas Patrias celebration and parade takes place this weekend. 7 bands at Wilder Park on Saturday all day long, and then Sunday the parade takes place beginning at 11 a.m. right in downtown. And tonight we are very excited to formally honor this year's Grand Marshal, nominated by the public. So many applications and nominations came in for him. It's Saul Olivas. Let's give him a round of applause. So tonight, to commemorate him being named the Grand Marshal, Mayor Lash will be presenting him with his banner for the parade. Let's give him a round of applause. If anyone's tuned in tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m., Saul and Zaira Chavez from the Aurora Hispanic Heritage Advisory Board are going to be live on Good Day Chicago as well on Fox 32 to talk more about the parade, the festivities, and all the exciting things taking place here this weekend. We'll hear from Mayor Lash briefly and also from Saul about what this honor means to him.
Well, it's no surprise that your name bubbled to the top with the community behind it. You're at almost every community event that time affords you, given your job as a school board member, as a teacher, and an avid runner. It's still amazing that you show up to every volunteer event throughout the city to volunteer with the Citizens Police Academy as well, often patrolling these very parade routes. So it'll be exciting to see you leading the parade coming up for Fiestas Patrias. I'm looking forward to it and want to also take a moment to thank all the staff that have been really working overtime to make sure that we have both a Fiestas Patrias event, but then also a parade. So welcome you to the mic to just say a few words, share what you're thinking about it.
Thank you. Buenas tardes. Good evening. Definitely a little nervous. I did not know I was going to be speaking. But what this honor means to me, I mean, it's definitely overwhelming, first of all, humbling to be able to have been selected, and first of all, just being nominated for this honor. Like John said, I have been involved in the community for many long years. Started with high school, with DECA, just being involved and being able to help, and their transition to college and, after college, been part of many nonprofit organizations. Currently, I sit in 6, and so my time is limited, but I also make time to make sure that I show up when I am needed. If you ever need help volunteering, I always try my best to show up, even though my time might be limited. I always try to show up for my community that saw me grow up here in Aurora. So I always try to help whoever is needed. So again, I'm just thankful for those individuals that nominated me. I'm not sure who you are, but thank you. And also just thank you to the Aurora Hispanic Heritage Advisory Board for being able to provide this honor for me. So again, thank you to all and to all the community. Thank you.
Give it up again for Saul Olivas. Remember, the event is free this weekend, so the festivities on Saturday, all the bands, the music, the food and the vendors, that's all free over at Wilder Park. And then obviously the parade Sunday, 11 a.m. You want to be there, free for all. We hope to see a lot of people there. It's the first Fiestas parade since 2019, so it makes it even more significant that Saul was selected for this honor. So thank you, everybody, again for being here. We're going to move on to the next portion of the mayor's report. Thank you.
We still have one more thing, if we could get the slides up. I'm just going to give the council a short update on Onlight. For those who don't know, there's new members. Onlight is our fiber optic ring that runs around the city. It provides high-speed broadband to all the city buildings, as well as some other non-governmental organizations, businesses. We have a number of clients, but there, I think, is going to be I'll explain why the city council needs to be brought up to speed to this as we get towards the end of the presentation, and we'll try to keep it short. So as I said, there was some federal money available. Many municipalities set up these fiber optic rings. Aurora's was set up in 2012. It's a nonprofit. There's also a 501 LC3, which is a corporation that specifically provides internet to our corporate businesses and clients. This was originally set up to serve the city with high-speed, low-cost fiber optic broadband. The city owns the actual fiber. I'm sure a number of you have seen these agenda items come through. So we own all of the infrastructure, and Onlight is the nonprofit that manages it, similar to we own River Edge Park and ACA manages the park. Next slide. There's roughly 60 miles of fiber running throughout the city. There's currently 16 customers, and then I already talked about all the city facilities that are part of the fiber optic ring as well, including all of our wells, this building, the new Public Works building, the new fire stations, and the Green Freedom Habitat for Humanity project. The IT department did an excellent job getting NTI, which is our contractor to run fiber over there, free of charge. So a little shout out to the IT department. Next slide. There is a master service agreement between the City of Aurora and Onlight. To my knowledge, there's 2 of these. We've been digging through a lot of the paperwork. One was set up initially in 2012 and then a modified version in 2015. It does allow for the mayor and the CIO are automatically appointed. Additionally, 1 alder person. So we've had 2 meetings. The first was just myself and the CIO to get a grasp on some of the finances. The board actually makes the appointment. We appointed Alderman Larson, who's the only person on this city council to be the alderman representative voice. And then there's 4 other members that we have yet to appoint. Next slide. This is what it looks like graphically. If you look at the western side, you can see that we ran a leg all the way out to the airport. And then if you look at that strand that runs into Chicago, this is only 2 fibers in a bundle that we're currently renting that run into Chicago Trading Center. We're currently paying $14.50 a month, I think, to rent these and rent a room up there to facilitate them. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the presentation. Onlight is also close to $1 million in debt. We've taken out several lines of credit, letters of credit with Old Second to facilitate the organization over the past couple years. During my first meeting, I learned that Onlight is running at roughly a $27,000 monthly deficit. I'll talk about what we're doing to fix that in a second. And then the other portion, and this is why I'm briefing the council on this, is that if Onlight dissolves, all the assets revert back to the City of Aurora per the MSA. Currently, we have about enough oxygen to get us to the end of the month. And we're working to try and make us a little more financially solvent. Next slide. Really quick, how did we get here? Apparently, in the last couple of years, there's been 3 failed attempts to take fiber to home. Some of you may remember the relatively high-profile smart city approach out of the gate. Apparently, that resulted in over $113,000 in legal fees. Onlight staff was costing us about $200,000 a year. And then there was some unregulated debit card expenses for marketing purposes, of which $10,000 was even spent between the April election and the inauguration on May 13th. Next slide. this is probably the bigger problem. Financially, you can see how some of that money was spent between events, networking, airfare, lodging, hotels, limo services, cars, a lot of bars and restaurants, even adult entertainment clubs. Initially in 2018, there was a lot of sponsorships. The political contributions we never saw show up in D2s, but we also never saw the money come back. Over $50,000 in cash withdrawals and a few conferences and marketing expenditures. Next slide. The good news is, as the debit card and former CIO traveled from Madrid to Ireland to Florida and Las Vegas on several occasions, the majority of the money was spent in Aurora at Aurora businesses. So that's some good news. Next slide. There was also some large-scale events. You may remember the 605 Innovation District, which cost upwards of $50,000, which was one single event, but there is, to this date, still no Innovation District, and appears to be a pretty significant waste of money. Next slide. The good news is we got one new customer since 2018. We lost 12 customers. Again, I mentioned the 3 failed attempts at fiber to home. Sadly, there was no serious attempt at the $1 billion in Illinois BEAD grants. This was one of the things that I had pursued and worked with the Illinois Broadband Office to try and get us a shot at that grant money. There was a tranche being released, but for the most part, they've already invested in different municipalities and different counties. There's also a smart city media contract. We're working to try and, these are the 8 kiosks that are around the city. They haven't paid their bill, so we are working to try and get that money back, or I'm sorry, to get them to pay their bill. But I mean, the bottom line is that, after spending a significant amount of money, there's been very little business development efforts, travel, restaurants, and conferences, but very few results. Next slide. So I talked about the 2 fiber strands that run into Chicago. This is a $1,415 monthly rental space. We are also renting a space in CME for $5,000 a month. We're in the process of canceling those. We canceled our $900 a month monthly rent, and we're currently working to replace and phase out some of the staff that were working for Onlight. I did get a community member with a serious tech background to serve as a volunteer for the next month, for the next 3 months. And then we have a part-time CFO who is also restructuring his contract, which was set to expire in April, to expire at the end of 3 months. So the Illinois Broadband Office did provide us a temporary consultant to sort of help us chart out a future. And then the next slide. And these are the goals, is to stabilize us financially so we are not, paying the $27,000 a month in the hole. A big portion of that, almost $20,000, is debt service. We need to work hard to improve customer service and customer retention and try and get back some of the customers that we lost over the years. And the reason I say that is because the fiber is already running there. We don't have any infrastructure costs affiliated with it. It's just going to be trying to get them to sign back up. And it's my understanding, even District 129, we didn't even apply for that RFP. So that might be an easy one, is to work with some of our existing, our former clients. We also want to make sure that we're competitively priced. Apparently we lost some of our clients because we were not competitively priced. And then the other person that this volunteers, or the other responsibility that this volunteer is going to have to do, is work with the city and work with Scientel if we have any outages or fiber cuts to maintain customer service. There was a bit of a response necessary during the storm as some of our facilities went down. But the goal is to bring Onlight back online. And then a second phase would be, once we've stabilized things, to try to see what we could do to go fiber to home. Unfortunately, it sounds like the federal moved over to the state. $1 billion has already been appropriated, so it's not like we're having any new outside revenue coming in to support Onlight. But if things do collapse, I just wanted to make the council aware that we would have to look at and explore bringing this back in-house and continuing to service our customers and making sure that our city buildings are all online. I mean, that's going to be very important and vital to the city's operations and cybersecurity. So there's a lot more detail in all of this, but for the most part, I just wanted to let the council know as we continue to transition over to new leadership. And I know that Austin and perhaps Alderman Larson are going to be working to try and fill out the board, so it's a 7-person board. So if anybody knows anybody with an IT background that wants to serve and bring something to the table, certainly open to those suggestions. That being said, if in 3 months the board doesn't exist, people need to be made aware of that. So that's really all I have, unless anybody has any questions on this. I didn't want to delve too much into it, but I did want to make the council aware. And if you have any board ideas, I'm open to those. Okay, with no questions, we'll move to
Mayor Lash, I do have a
Alderman
question.
White.
So, wondering, it sounds like, well, question is there anybody in Onlight that is responsible for client relationship and new business development?
So it sounds, there's a different, the current executive director was not hired for that purpose. He was hired to take fiber to home. It sounds like they hired someone prior to him coming on that was supposed to do that, but did not do a good enough job at it. So right now we have one person that's going to work as a volunteer for 3 months to try and do that. We have found the context, and the first thing is to try and communicate with them that there's new leadership, and see if there's any issues with our existing customers. And then the second step will be to try and reach out to those that we've lost and find out why we lost them and try and bring them back.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Alderman Masiakos.
Mayor, appreciate the opportunity. Stunned is an understatement here about what you presented. When I was on finance previously, several years ago, the late Alderman Bob O'Connor asked for the paperwork and actually the financials for Online Aurora. And I believe the response was by staff, don't ask me, it's on the mayor's desk. People need to know that there were questions being asked in regards to what the situation was with Onlight, but there was a refusal. To refusal to the point where it went to the newspaper, and even the previous Steve Lord wrote a comment by the previous mayor in regards to the finance committee and trying to remind them what their responsibilities were. Not like we didn't know what they were already. One of the comments I made, though, after that article was that the financial stability of Onlight is a financial security for rural Illinois. And right now, what you're showing us is of serious concern for our financial security. Over $7,000 for adult entertainment, over $50,000 in withdrawals, cash withdrawals for what? How are we going to find out what's really what really happened there, and what's the next step? So now we've got it out there. I would say I'm stunned again. What's the next step? So we're down, we have to wait 3 months, and that's it? We're just going to let everything go under the rug?
Well, the goal is to stabilize it and to keep Onlight up and functional, not to bring it into the city. And that's for several reasons that have to do with state law about it, keeping an arm's length from the city. So the goal is to stabilize it, and hopefully we're able to do that by reducing some of our costs as the methods that I mentioned. And if we are able to bring some new clients online, then hopefully we could hire somebody that could chart out a future, or we can continue to work with the Illinois Broadband Office to see what resources they're going to provide us.
Well, I know when I first came on, the situation was such that it was an economic attraction tool for the city of Aurora. Shore up our economic base, and it cost us practically nothing and we're in profit sharing, and money was coming in our way as well. So I'm not quite sure how it's going to be a profit maker and why it's going to benefit the taxpayer if we bring it on board. If we do it, I hope it's only temporary, and there's a plan to get out of that situation where we do go back to a non-for-profit status. It's been done, and I believe it can be done again with the right leadership and the right people on this board.
Okay, thank you. And I will do my best to be transparent. If anybody has any questions or wants documents, I'm going to do my best to make sure that we're answering your questions. Once we have a 7-member board, probably hold public meetings. Any other questions? The next section of the agenda is public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
Yes, we do.
Will you please read the rules of public comment?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the committee of the whole for up to 3 minutes, with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair, for the purpose of maintaining order, may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the committee of the whole shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment within the scope of the city's authority following the adjournment of this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will you please read the name of the first person wishing to offer public comment?
Sun Knight.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes beginning now.
The Aurora City Council recently approved keeping the city grocery tax while the statewide tax on the grocery is gone. If the city has 4.5 million revenue loss, the city should find alternative way to address the issue, like borrowing money from the car dealership. They just got 30 million taxpayers' money. Maybe you can borrow from them. Every dollar counts for the low-income families. They're supposed to get financial relief, especially during the period of inflation. Getting rid of the grocery tax might make a trip to the grocery store more affordable. A tax on grocery takes a large percentage of income from the lower income families, not from higher income families. Lower income residents will be forced to buy a cheaper food, not healthy foods. We are also opposing the hotel occupancy tax from 3% to 6%, and the $10 fees to the hotel rooms. Higher taxes in hotels make the city less affordable. That will deter visitors from coming to Aurora. Local businesses will see fewer tourists, and hotels will close. We are opposing your property taxes, grocery taxes, hotel taxes, water and sewer price hikes. Since the mayor cannot come up with a better solution, like-minded people will get together and we will have you out of that office. We'll be there voting on 6 o'clock in the morning. The new mayor will lower taxes and remove that 1% grocery taxes. We won't tolerate a mayor who burdens us, the working families in Aurora. We'd like to thank Mayor Richard Irvin, the first black mayor for the city of Aurora, for acknowledging and celebrating the resilience and success of black businesses. The current mayor, John Lush, does not honor August as the Black Business Month. It was not mentioned on the city website. You are busy featuring Dogs of the Week every week. Here to thank Aurora African American Heritage Advisory Board and Chairman Curtis Wilson for honoring Black Business Month, featuring over 100 businesses, Quad County African American Chamber of Commerce and Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce for doing all the work the last month. But you are busy showing off dogs every week on the website. Here to let you know, your administration did not acknowledge August, a Black Business Month. You're too busy advertising dogs every week. But you did not mention anything. August is a Black Business Month.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please call the name of the next person wishing to offer public comment?
Sandy Schmidt.
Ms. Schmidt, you have 3 minutes beginning now.
Hello, it's very nice to see everybody today. Now that the dust has kind of settled from the August 16th big storm, I just wanted to say thank you to the city staff that did such an amazing job. In particular, the 311 call center I know was hit pretty hard, and the streets department. And part of my feedback is, I think many of you know that I walk my dog every day, sometimes twice a day in various parts of the city. And every person that I talked to said how amazing the streets people were. Like upbeat, everybody was nice. I even had a neighbor that took a video. She had a large amount of a tree down, and she even took a video because it was like young people and an older, the crew was, a mix of people, and they were just all working together. So I just think that's an amazing part of the city. So I just wanted to say thank you to them.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, will you please call the name of the next person wishing to offer public comment?
Ray Hall.
Welcome. You have 3 minutes beginning now.
Everything that I have to say tonight is our economic measures that impact the general fund, as well as past and upcoming budgets. In 2009, 10, and 11, we had to create decrement lists with 10% cuts to each division or department budgets. One furlough day was taken by all executives for 3 years, plus Local 1514 and 3298 took, I believe, 8 days of furloughs those years. The unions committed even a portion of their uniform, since they get 5 per year, and most have enough to cover every day for a year after about 3 years 3 or 4 years on the job. If, as Dr. Caputo says, the administration saw that as a temporary situation, this administration should do that prior to taxing the citizens. I was able to cut 30% from my budget without cutting staff or service. And if they don't have 10% that they can cut out of their budget, they don't know how to put together a budget. All budgets have some fat in them. In 2021, I addressed this council about the 140 plus employees the previous administration had hired and asked that the council act as a check and balance. Not only did you not do anything, last week's meeting I learned that over 223 new employees have been approved. Guess what? All that payroll and benefit comes out of the general fund. For those that don't know it yet, all personnel costs, with the exception of water and sewer, water billing, and some that may be funded by grants or some federal funds, come out of the general fund. Lastly, most of all, after all this budget deficit dialogue, Mayor, I was just told today by an employee that you gave the street department employees, some 50 employees, 2 days off with pay after the recent storms. They already get 11 holidays, 6 floating holidays. They average 3 weeks of vacation and 12 sick days. It may be a big deal to you, and we're grateful for what they're doing, but it's their job. In 1996, we had a 19-inch flood. 83, 85, we had 100-year events. You know what we got? We got a cookout, because that's our job. 2014, we had 3 feet of snow fell on the ground. We didn't get anything for it. And in the midst of all of this, they don't get to what's going to happen on the next storm. Every time we have a blizzard, every time we have a storm, everybody's going to get time off. That's not going to happen. And Alderman Franco, I got to tell you this. I would be ashamed to admit that after 12 budget cycles and chairing the finance committee that you had no idea about how and what the budget is. Shame on all the rubber stamping a majority of you have done.
Thank you, Mr. Hull. Any more members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll move to the next section of the agenda, the committee reports. I'll ask Vice Chairwoman Patty Smith to give the BZ&E report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Building, Zoning, and Economic Development Committee met on August 27th, 2025, and reviewed the following items. 25-0647, an ordinance establishing a conditional use plan development and approving 411 East Galena plan description of the property located at 411 East Galena Boulevard. Consent?
With no questions on this agenda item, it'll go on the consent agenda.
25-0648, a resolution approving a final plan for the property located at 411 East Galena Boulevard for a parking facility residential 4160 use.
Consent.
There's no questions on this agenda item, it'll go on the consent agenda.
And our last item is 25-0680, a ordinance vacating a water line easement and a stormwater control easement on the property located at 1444 North Orchard Road in Kane County, Aurora, Illinois.
Consent.
And that is the
There's
end.
no questions on this agenda item, it'll go on the consent agenda.
That is the end of the BZ&E information for the day.
Thank you, Vice Chairwoman Smith. Next, I'll ask Chairman Ted Masiakos to give the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee met on August 28, 2025, and reviewed the following items. Item 25-0227, a resolution authorizing the sale of obsolete and surplus property using J.J. Kane Auctioneers and Purple Wave, Inc. Now, I believe Alderman Bugg was going to look into a matter and maybe share with us his findings on this.
Yes, that's available. Staff?
Who are you looking for?
Staff?
Good afternoon, Chris Linville, Superintendent of Fleet Operations.
Hi, thanks. Unfortunately, due to our technical difficulties, I don't have the direct attachment, but we started to discuss a little bit about a couple of vehicles on the list. So if you have those, couple of vehicles that were, one was under 50,000 miles, one was about 60,000 miles. Okay. Put up the attachment.
Yeah, so there was a 2006 Jeep Wrangler that has 57,000 miles, a 2013 Ford Focus that had 42,000 miles. Are those what you're?
Yeah, those were it. Do those have extenuating circumstances, accidents, other things where we would be moving those along instead of possibly keeping those for future use?
So we have utilized those vehicles for seasonals at the moment. So we have replaced those vehicles already because these are from the 2025 replacements. So.
No, I understand they've been replaced
Right.
already, but just looking at if they will have any useful life for the city.
We could reevaluate those vehicles once the seasonals were done using them.
So
Yeah.
Alderman Bugg, after you and I talked on this topic, there's been discussions internally, as I'm sure you can imagine, every budget year, each department comes through wanting new vehicles.
Sure.
What we're looking at as a savings measure is to create 2 vehicle pools, one near City Hall, one at Public Works, and potentially one at 339, which would allow vehicle sharing for those people pursuing a new vehicle. So I talked to Derek Winston after our conversation, and the plan is to they're going to try and reduce this list and only auction off those vehicles that are non-functional until we've evaluated that potential use of a vehicle pool to cut back on budget requests going into the next, into the 2026 cycle.
Okay.
Does that answer your question? I know you had some
certainly on
questions.
this. I mean, the vast majority are police vehicles. Once a police vehicle gets up 150,000 miles, that's its life,
Right.
and it's had a hard life, and then we move it on to the auction and we get a salvage value. But like I said, those couple that were 40,000 miles, a number of years on them, but only 40,000 miles, and a couple like that. So I think that's good that we take a second look at those.
We're going to try and squeeze a little more life out of them.
All right. We'll need it.
Any other questions on this agenda item? If there's no further questions, we can put this on the consent agenda.
All right. Mayor, next item is 25-0612, a resolution authorizing the execution of a contract with Site Med for providing on-site firefighter medical examinations and other services. Continuation of existing service our firefighters are received.
No further questions. This item will go on the consent agenda.
Item 25-0644, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with the Aurora Regional Economic Alliance for the provision of special services within the area constituting Special Service Area 1 through December 31st, 2025.
Alderwoman Smith?
Can we just get a little, since I couldn't open up the attachments and see, can we get a little explanation on that, please?
Sure. Well, the big thing is the Alliance has been handling First Fridays while we reconstruct the Aurora Downtown organization, which was a product of the 2 downtown listening sessions. Currently, just so you know, Danielle Tufano is going to build and working with all the business owners that pay that SSA 1 tax to build consensus, although that was sort of what the majority expressed during those meetings. But we wanted to have an agreement in place with the Alliance to maintain First Fridays until that is up and running.
Okay.
Does that broadly answer it, or did you have a legal?
No, I was just going to explain that this is just kind of a temporary thing to get us through the end of the year with the events that have already been planned. And then for 2026, there'll be there's some more bigger
Understood.
Changes coming.
Understood.
This is just the
For
next,
temporary.
4 months,
Okay.
so, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the
No problem.
explanation.
Any other questions on this agenda item?
Mayor Lash.
Alderman Barrero.
Yeah, I raised the question about the short time period. It just seems like, we're going to blink and it's going to be December 31st, and then we're going to be back here asking for an extension, because it seems like we're going to need more time, whatever's in the works.
This is for very specific, I mean, there's a limited list in the agreement that just runs through the end of the year. Because what we are looking for 2026 is a more comprehensive change. This is just like the
And when
events
is
are
that
actually
coming?
outlined.
And when is that coming?
That one is, I believe, I believe Debo and Rick, Rick is working on it to make sure, because he has the background about the Aurora downtown, and they're meeting tomorrow on it to finalize the details, is my understanding, so soon.
And as far as the SSA 1 creation, you might have more on the timeline, but I think we have a pretty effective timeline that should the SSA 1 members, the people that are paying that tax, agree, I think we'll be in a good position by the end of September to have formalized that.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this agenda item?
Consent.
With no further questions, this item will go on the consent agenda.
Next item, Mayor, is 25-0672, a resolution authorizing the city to accept a grant award of $34,420 from the FY26 Violent Crime Intelligence Task Force FOID grant.
Consent.
If there's no questions on this agenda item, it'll go on the consent agenda.
And the last item, Mayor, is 25-0687, a resolution approving the revised rules for the administration of the city's deferred compensation plans. 2 of the major moves in regards to this resolution are, 1 is to remove the corporate counsel to be an outside advisor and to be replaced with a controller or a deputy treasurer, and then also expanding the group to add 1 existing employee and 1 new employee to this group. So,
May I ask a question on that? I thought we were on a hiring freeze.
Is this for HR?
Oh, I don't think these are hired employees.
These aren't, for the deferred compensation plan, this isn't hiring new employees. This is creating a committee to look at the deferred compensation plans. It's existing employees. I don't know if you want to explain more, but it's existing employees, and then someone from our office will advise.
So this is not adding another salaried person to our?
No,
Okay.
no. It's existing people. It's just to help with the deferred compensation plans. Right now, I don't want to speak for you.
We can let Dan weigh in.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dan.
Ferguson, I'm the county manager. So what we're doing is we're just adding, so we have, we'll put people in two different categories: active employee participants and then retired employee participants. We're just having a representative from each group of participants in our 457 plans to also be a part of and participate on this committee.
And I probably would have realized that if I'd had the opportunity to read Granicus. So I think it's important for those out there listening that we were not unable to get into our Granicus so that we could be a little more prepared for tonight's meeting. So there may be some additional questions that we wouldn't have normally had. So thank you for taking the time.
Yep, absolutely.
Are there any other questions for Dan while he's up here? Okay.
So Mayor, that
No.
concludes the report, if that goes on consent agenda.
Consent.
With no other questions on this agenda item, it'll go on the consent agenda. Next, I will ask Chairman Franco to give the PHST committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Public Health, Safety, and Transportation Committee met on August 26, 2025, and reviewed the following items: 25-0539, a resolution authorizing approval of substantial amendment 2025 number 2 to reallocate prior year's community development block grant, home investment partnerships, and home investment partnerships American Rescue Plan funding.
Consent.
If there's no questions from the council, this item will go on the consent agenda.
Next is 25-0540, resolution approving project recommendations funded from year 1 of the Aurora Affordable Housing Fund in the amount of $400,000.
Consent.
If there's no other questions from the council, this will go on the consent agenda.
Next is 25-0541, a resolution approving the 2025 opioid use disorder grants in the amount of $344,000.
Consent.
If there's no other questions, this item will go on the consent agenda.
Next one. Good? Okay.
Go ahead.
Next one is 25-0639, a resolution authorizing Director of Purchasing to execute the service agreement with the Boys and Girls Club of North Central Illinois to administer the City of Aurora's after-school and summer programs in an amount not to exceed $583,000 for 2025-2026 school year and summer for a 1-year term with 2 1-year options for the Youth Services Division.
Consent.
Unfinished.
Okay, this item will go on unfinished. Alderman Bug, do you have any questions, or is Chris here to give a short presentation? Or Simon?
Simon.
Good evening, Council. Simon Rodriguez, Youth Services Manager.
We have the clip. It's right here. Oh, you gave it to me and I hit next slide.
Can we get the other slide? There's the one with the City of Aurora Youth Services, the other slide. I do want to go through this fairly quickly. All of this is in Granicus. I'm hoping you all had a chance to see this, but I'm just going to go very quickly through this process of putting our request for proposal out, and then the selection of the Boys and Girls Club to administer these programs. So just a brief history of our after-school programming and summer. Used to be in-house, but 2010 really saw a change in us, reaching out to the community to see if there are any partners that are able to take on our programming. Cities and Schools, or formerly known as Communities and Schools, was our partner for many years, since 2010. After-school programs are funded through our gaming tax. I just want to make sure we understand that, while our summer programming is funded through general funds. So again, same situation with the summer. And due to, unfortunately, cities and schools closing their doors this year, there was an opportunity for us to conduct a request for proposals to see if there are the agencies that can administer these programs. And really, we're looking again to fill that gap that with CISA closing their doors. And we would focus on a SOAP provider that can manage multiple sites citywide and doesn't focus on a specific content area, can have a long-term commitment to our programs, as well as establishing or have established school partnerships. And I do want to say on a side note, we do actually have 2 representatives, each from East Aurora and West Aurora school districts. Here, Angie Smith, here with West Aurora Schools, and Amy Engel with District 131 East Aurora here supporting. They've been such a great partner. I want to reiterate how crucial it is for us to have these partnerships with their school districts. As you know, our after-school programs take place in our schools. I really appreciate them being out here to support as well. We had 5 total vendors submit proposals, as you can see there, and we did indicate the top 3 scored proposals. So our RFP process, they submit their proposals, we review, we do have scores, and then those top scored, we do compare. So I want to just make sure we look at that. And again, our criteria is on their eligibility to perform the task, the scope of work, their capacities, their managerial and staff capacities as well, collaboration, as I mentioned, with our school partners, all their overall policies and procedures to ensure that they have policies that address everything, including the safety of our children, as well as looking over their budget and their cost criteria. Here, really briefly, the scoring results of the top 3, as mentioned above, with the Boys and Girls Club overall score being the highest. And on top of that, other decision factors were that they already had established programming in West Aurora schools, and they have successfully opened 14 new sites last month for District 131. They've shown to be extremely flexible to adjust programming, especially taking on our summer programming last minute this past year due to, again, CIS closing their doors. On top of that, they have a robust child protection plans. Their capacity and history to oversee citywide programs was very evident, as well as the way that they fund their programming is extremely diverse. So we saw that as a plus. A quick overview of this agreement, and then I do want to hand it off to Boys and Girls Club. They have a presentation unless there's any questions. They will provide 20 after-school programs for this upcoming year. Actually, this just started for East Aurora and West Aurora schools. 4 summer camp sites for each of the following districts: 131, 129, 204, and 308, as we've done in the past. A citywide theater camp available for all students in Aurora, as well as taking over our downtown Aurora summer camp that has been extremely popular at 4 different sites in downtown Aurora for next summer. The reason, if there's a question why the 583 for year 1 looks different from the following 2 years, and that is mainly because there are $226,000 remaining for the rest of this fiscal year, where normally we'd have about $150,000. So in total, we have about $300,000 allocated for after-school programming divided between 2 semesters. Last semester, CIS, who again unfortunately had to close their doors, only spent about $74,000 of that $150. So that left us with an additional $76,000 that you see there. So if you're wondering where those extra funds for this year come, it's because of the leftover funding for this fiscal year. But we anticipate the next 2 years, if we do extend, will be $507,000 max for year 2 and 3. I will now hand it over to the Boys and Girls Club unless there are any questions from our council.
I do just want you to explain. I apologize, I should have asked.
I was going to ask your question, and we talked about it the other day,
Yes.
but I know what it is.
Yes.
Go ahead and ask it,
Well,
Alderwoman
yes,
Smith.
and I asked this in committee as well, and
Yes.
just because District 204 and 308 are not listed on the after-school program,
Correct.
I think it's worth a little conversation to why that's like that.
That is correct. So those conversations are had, and again, Boys and Girls Club can expand on this. Right now, there's conversations, but also there is we're pretty much looking at the landscape of all school districts and their needs, right? And I think the big goal for us, as well as our partners, is to fill gaps. Currently, District 308 does have the Oswego Line Park District, that actually has after-school program in all Aurora-based schools. And we actually have an upcoming meeting with District 204. They do have other after-school programming, but we're trying to see if there's any gaps that we can fill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions of Simon before he hands it over?
Go ahead.
The next slide, please. And I'd like to introduce Natalie Pollock with the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. This is a very comprehensive presentation for anyone who was here last week, and so I am going to breeze through it really quickly to be mindful of time. And if there's any areas you want me to pause and go back to, I'm happy to do that. Our mission statement is to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. The next few slides just sort of show some of the models. This aligns with Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how we really build upon basic needs before attempting to reach our mission, which is productive, caring, responsive adults. This is what we call our blueprint for youth impact. What this demonstrates is that high quality programs do not happen by accident. Whether we're looking at board governance, staff training, program operations, everything leads to what we call our positive youth outcomes, which is essential skills for young people, health and well-being, character and leadership, academic success, and life and workforce readiness. Our programs, as Simon briefly mentioned, our goal is to not hone in on one particular area, but to provide a well-rounded experience for every youth that walks through our doors to ensure that they are able to gain exposure and identify what they're really interested in. So again, whether it's academics, leadership, skills and risky behavior avoidance, physical fitness, arts, and life and workforce readiness, those are our main categories. We're very proud to gather data not only from our youth, but from our families that we serve. We see ourselves as a family service program, not just for the children. And overwhelmingly, families and school partners believe that the Boys and Girls Club is a safe place for their children to grow, and that we provide a collaborative, successful partnership, and we're an important part of their school. Our organizational history spans back to 1993. We have grown tremendously since COVID, and this school year we actually opened our 52nd operating site. Aurora in particular, we started in 2022, and in partnership first with West Aurora 129 and also now growing into East Aurora, we do have a desire to serve more school districts if there's a gap for us to fill. And we've been able to welcome a lot of different partnerships to really bolster those programs that we offer students. I like to share this slide that when we started in Aurora, we were serving less than 100 students back in 2022 for that school year, and we're projecting to serve around 1,000 students enrolled and see about 750 of those each day in our programs. We know that America and Aurora needs Kids and Boys and Girls Club programs. 51% of club kids say that the Boys and Girls Club saved their life. So when we look at trying to serve 1,000 students in this coming school year, that means about 500 of those kids will feel that the Boys and Girls Club program saved their life. We also know that for every dollar invested in a Boys and Girls Club, over $10 is returned to the community with reduced crime, increased engagement, increased academic success, allowing families to be working, contributing members of society. I'm going to do a really quick highlight of our 2025 summer camp program. We came in April and wanted to fill the need that was brought to us by the City of Aurora. We were able to serve over 450 students across those 5 camps, 4 traditional camps and 1 theater camp. Youth were exposed to key partners with a variety of interests to make the camp really fun for them. I'd like to highlight in particular APS Training Academy, an Aurora-based partner that provided high-quality STEM programming for the students. We also got to take them on fun field trips to get out in the community. We, if anyone saw the How I Became a Pirate, kiddos put on a theater production in a matter of 3 weeks and then did a full production in partnership with West Aurora 129 at Jefferson Middle School. And then we always culminate the summer with the Phillips Park Fun Day, where we had about 300 campers come together in partnership with the City of Aurora to celebrate all that we accomplished in the summer. Our youth survey shared that overwhelmingly the students had a fun time, they felt safe, and they liked the activities that they participated in with us. As we look to the upcoming school year, again, as Simon mentioned, we'll be in 20 schools across 129 and 131. We begin on the first day of school and we end on the last day of school, depending on whichever district you're looking at. We service students Monday through Friday from dismissal until 6 p.m. on days when school is in session. And right now, this particular contract is aiming to serve students in kindergarten through 5th grade. We do have programs at Herget Middle School, but this contract in particular is looking for K through 5 elementary schools. Again, projected enrollment is 1,000 youth members, and although we do have a membership fee structure, which I'll get to, we anticipate that 80% of those attending club programs will do so on a full scholarship. Our summer program for 2026, as Simon mentioned, would be 4 weeks at our traditional camps at each of those 4 school districts, 1 citywide theater camp for 4 weeks, and then the rotating downtown Aurora camp. Looking at all of those, that would span for an 8-week summer, Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 2:30. Again, just a little bit of a sample school year schedule showing that every day, every week is a little bit different, but we're hoping for students to get a wide variety of activities when they come to the Boys and Girls Club. Our leadership model is based on a full-time regional director. I'd like to shout out Wendy Mendoza, who's here. She is overseeing the partnership with both 129 and 131. We also have a team of full-time area managers that oversee several club sites, ensuring a strong partnership between the school and that club location, and then an individual site coordinator that oversees a team of 2 to 5 youth development assistants, depending on how many students there are in the program. Our maximum enrollment is 1 adult staff for every 20 children. And they're really creating that school relationship on a day-to-day basis. And then our team of youth development assistants that build relationships and implement programs, again, with a group of about 15 to 20 youth. As Simon mentioned, we have a robust protocol and safety policies and procedures to ensure that every child that's within our program is experiencing both a physically and emotionally safe environment. Our safety protocols align with Boys and Girls Club of America, so while we are a local nonprofit, a local 501c3, we do have to align with our national office to ensure that we can proudly use their logo on our programs. We also align with the Illinois Department of Human Services because we are a child care assistance program provider or a CCAP provider, and so in order to receive reimbursement from the state, we must meet their safety protocols as well. Criminal background checks are done in-house. We have fingerprinting that aligns with the Illinois State Police. Volunteers, even if they're not a paid staff member, if you're a volunteer with regular recurrent contact with our youth members, you also have to go through that background check process. We have CPR and first aid training, child abuse prevention, mandated reporting, and a slew of other professional development opportunities that are regularly offered to ensure that every youth development professional is ready to go and ready to serve the young people in our program. Our sustainable membership model, as Simon mentioned, in the past it used to be a fully free program, but we know that our reliance on government funds is less reliable at this time. And so what we do is individual fees based on family income. The CCAP state subsidy, as I mentioned, allows for full scholarships. So if a family qualifies for CCAP, then they can come to the Boys and Girls Club for free. We also don't collect copays to make it as easy as possible on those families. We also partner with private foundations and donors. And for the families that are determined, again, we only anticipate in Aurora maybe 10 to 20% of families would be paying. That maximum cost is around $200 per child. Very quick overview. I think Simon already explained kind of how the funds are for each budget year and how year 1 is slightly greater than year 2 and 3. But what I'd like to bring to your attention is that the overwhelming majority of the funds will be used for direct service in Aurora. Only about 1% of our funds are for what we would call administrative cost in our main office that's located in South Elgin administering the program. And then year 2 and 3, that administrative cost goes down to less than 1%. We're really excited to be here. Our team is excited to serve students in Aurora, and we hope to grow in the coming years. And I welcome any questions.
Are there any questions? Alderman Barrero?
Mayor Lash, I just wanted to make a comment. I was involved when we unfortunately had to pivot with our youth services, and we had a situation where we had a robust staff. We went down to like two people, and then one, before we built it back up. And one of the things that we came up with was to outsource those services, and CIS did a great job. They were a great partner. They were already in the schools. They had the staff, and I just wanted to acknowledge them for providing many, many, many years of service. And unfortunately, they closed their doors. But I'm also pleased that we have a great new partner that is very familiar with these services, doing a great job. And in other communities, I had the privilege of visiting the South Elgin site, and many great facility, great programs. And I think we're just fortunate to be able to have you expand into Aurora. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Any other questions? Alderwoman Smith?
Are you a teacher?
I'm not. I have
not.
been a Boys and Girls Club employee my whole career.
You have that appearance, and you gave that entire presentation to us with a smile on your face through the whole thing, so thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
Mayor Lash?
Alderman White?
I have a comment. So the Boys and Girls Club for me is very personal in that when my children were younger and there were no after-school options that were affordable for me, that the Boys and Girls Club was that outlet. And it was helpful for me to know that from after school to about 5 or 6 while I was working, that my 3 kids were in a safe space and I didn't have to worry about them. And in fact, I can say honestly that if it weren't for the Boys and Girls Club, after school, my kids would be outside waiting at the steps at the school until I was able to pick them up. So I just wanted to thank you for this service, and I'm very glad that you're expanding your reach in Aurora.
Thank you for sharing that. Your story rings true for a lot of families we serve. I appreciate that personal comment.
Any other questions? Alderwoman Garza? Okay. With no further questions, this will go on unfinished, and we have one more agenda under PHST.
Thank you.
Next item is 25-0655, a resolution to authorize the mayor or his designee to execute the contracts for Julie Smith and Gina Minetti as certified fingerprint analysts for the Aurora Police Department. These two have been with the city since 2010. They work on a hourly basis, and they only work when there is work to be done.
Consent.
No further questions on this agenda item. It'll go on the consent agenda.
And Mr. Mayor, that concludes the PHST report.
Thank you, Chairman Franco. Next, I'll ask Chairwoman Wani Garza to give the IT committee report.
Yes, Mayor. We met on August 25th, and first item is 24-1008, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to accept per ton dump fees from Rochelle Waste Disposal for disposal of non-special excavating soil.
Consent.
No further questions. This will go on the consent agenda.
25-0662, a resolution to award the contract for the Stolp Avenue streetscaping improvements to Landmark Contractors, Inc., 11916 West Main Street, Huntley, Illinois, 60142, of the amount of $302,940.75.
Consent.
Alderman Seville.
Can we have a brief presentation on this, please?
Good evening, Jason Bauer with the Department of Public Works. So this project is somewhat similar to what we did last year. Last year for the streetscape, our focus was Water Street at the intersection of Water and Benton. We put in some landscape beds. We put in the new brick along the back of the curb. And this year we're looking to do that same thing. It's the same CIP that we're going to hope to do year by year and go through and replace the old deteriorated brick, install brick where there is no brick. For instance, on Stolp right now, it's within the area of the downtown area that should have brick along the back of the curb, and it does not, so we'll be installing that. And also the sidewalk on the west side of Stolp has an excessive cross slope. So per the ADA, cross slope on a sidewalk should be between 1% and 2% so the water can get off, but it's also easy to traverse. Right now, that sidewalk has areas that are as high as 8%, so it's not very easy for someone that might have a disability to traverse with a walker or with a wheelchair. So We're going to remove all that sidewalk. We're going to improve the access to some of the buildings. And then when we're done, we'll have brick along the back of the curb for both the east and the west side of Stolt between Downer and Benton.
And will we be adding any, street lighting standards? Or
Yes.
parks and benches and
Yeah, not a lot of
receptacles and all that too?
Yeah, not a lot of benches. There's not a lot of room there, but we are going to be installing some more street lighting. That's a good one. There's a lack of street lighting, especially on the west side. It's kind of dark, so we are going to be installing some of the same standard downtown decorative historic lights.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on this agenda item? And then real quick, just so the council's aware, not connected to this agenda item, Jason is putting together a package and a bid, because we did not do the Broadway streetscape, to try and patch in a lot of the divots. We did have a trip and fall, and we want to make sure that the city's not liable. So I don't know if you have just a short.
Yeah, so there'll
I know
be-
M&M Peters was out there looking at it the other day.
Yeah, we had M&M Peters look at Broadway and Geneva Construction look at Broadway. They both have there's two active contracts there, so I'm working with purchasing now to see if we can get one of them out there. We did get a quote from each, so specific to Broadway, that work will be done hopefully by one of those two vendors, and we should be able to get them moving sooner rather than later. And then throughout the rest of the downtown, Abby Schuler, the downtown services manager, has her list of all the other sidewalks that need to be corrected this year, and that is also moving forward. So hopefully within the next 2 months, both of those will be completed.
Thank you. Yeah, Alderman
Just
Spill
one
has
more
another
question.
question.
I know it's good to see, Mayor, that we're going to be doing a little bit each time as the budget allows and every year, which makes sense to stage it in. If we do this continuously every year, when do you think the streetscape with the Foxwalk design standards will be?
That'll probably be for the next director to answer whenever that.
No, I don't
comes,
want to
but-
hear that.
Yeah, no, I mean, with the budget that we have, we were hoping that we could do about a block a year. That's kind of where that number came from, so.
Well, we do have, as you know, a few blocks that don't have any of the Foxwalk standard streetscape. So I guess that's my
Yep.
the reason for my question is because we started this in 1993 or so, and we still haven't completed.
Right, and that's one of the reasons we chose Stolt, is because it is one of the
Yeah,
ones
great.
that is missing the brick. It's not up to standard, and with the ADA factor too, that it made sense to do that one this year. And last year, where we started, we've had some issues with that being a longer crossing, so we tried to shorten that up with a lot of people park on the south side and then walk across that to get to, any of the events that are in Lot B, like the farmer's market. So definitely those were high on our list, but certainly if there's specific blocks that don't have the standards, they're definitely going to be targeted before we loop back and start going with the brick
Sounds
replacement.
good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. Any other questions? If there are none, this will go on the consent agenda.
Next item is 25-0664, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter an agreement with Geneva Construction Company, P.O. Box 998, Aurora, Illinois 60507, in the amount of $276,725.20
Consent.
for the resurfacing the three parking lots.
Mr. Mayor?
Alderman Bug.
Thank you. Just a quick question on this. Mr. Bauer. Sorry to make you sit down and come all the way back.
He did that on
When we
purpose.
started the local preference, we put out some very specific guidelines. So this is just a question from my knowledge. I know they are, Geneva Construction are along the river. They are definitely within the city limits and not unincorporated?
Yeah, their mailing address is within the city limits, and they do have an
The
office.
mailing address is a P.O. box.
Yeah, and Jolene, if she's here, could probably expand upon the exact rules and regulations, but Geneva has successfully applied for the registration, and I believe it's been vetted, and that gets vetted, I think, every time they have to renew their vendor license.
Because most of the things are federal contracts, and local preference can't go to that. But this one isn't, and they won it on local preference, not on the straight bid. So they are 100% within the city limits.
Yeah, but they provided all the appropriate documentation according to the ordinance to have that.
Okay.
available to them.
Thank you.
And they have won it in the past for the same reason, so.
Yeah. Thanks.
Any other questions on this agenda item? No further questions. It'll go on the consent agenda.
Okay, next item is 25-0671, a resolution authorizing the director of purchasing to execute a contract with the Access Improvements 1110 Aurora Avenue with Martham Construction, Inc., and the amount of $253,320.00.
No questions on this agenda item. It'll go on the consent agenda.
Okay. An INT committee discussed and the item 25-0667, which is under the new business section and this agenda. And we conclude the meeting, Mayor.
Thank you, Chairwoman Garza. Next, I'll ask Chairman Bug to give the RAP committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Rules of Procedure Committee met on August 19, 2025, and reviewed the following items for your consideration. 25-0610, resolution authorizing the appointments of Ricardo Herrera, Amy Flores, Asivia Chosky, Alex Feinberg, Ava DeWig, and Alex Teo to the Aurora Youth Council.
Consent.
And we brought forward those names. Most of the slots on the Aurora Youth Council are filled, but there are just a couple of more schools who can put someone forward, but most of them are filled.
Okay. Thank you. With no further questions, this item will go on the consent agenda.
Next is 25-0645, resolution authorizing the appointments of Latanya Remy and Mary Foltz to the African American Heritage Advisory Board.
Consent.
No further
Consent.
questions. This item will go on the consent agenda.
Thank you. 25-0654, resolution appointing Alderman Ted Masiacos, Alderman Carl Franco, and Alderman at Large Will White to the Aquatics Advisory Council.
Consent.
This
Unfinished?
item, I think, will go on unfinished
Unfinished.
because the
Okay.
alderman will be asked to recuse themselves.
Yes. Unfinished. Thank you. And lastly, we have a 25-0595, resolution authorizing the Ward 10 Residential Grant Program. That was considered at committee, and no action is needed on that from this body. And that concludes the RAP report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Bug. And then new business, I'll ask the clerk to read the next two agenda items.
25-0667, a resolution requesting approval of a one-year support contract for city network firewalls in the amount of $65,426.03.
Can we get a presentation on it?
Jeff?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jeff Anderson, Deputy CIO. This is a continuation of the five-year contract we have with Scientel. We have, if you remember last year, we were up here because we had finally moved from the Cisco legacy network fully over to the Fortinet network. We knew exactly how many firewalls we needed, so we asked to bring those into the contract last year. We picked up the last year option with Scientel as well, so this just extends that to the end of that contract. So if you can remember, those of you who've been here long enough, when we had two physically distinct networks, it was very difficult to communicate, set up meeting agendas with the folks at PD. They were on a completely separate network. So that was the whole long-running migration here to the Fortinet network and one cohesive network.
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on this agenda item? Alderman Masiacos.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just a few questions here on this packet in front of me. It says procurement application of unupdated licensing only. The first description of work. It's just a license we're approving today, correct?
Yeah, we're just purchasing the licenses. So to get the upgrades to the firewalls are that first line of defense. So you need to keep them up to date. So it just allows us to basically get the subscription from Fortinet to keep them current.
We're purchasing it through Scientel.
Correct. They are able to purchase them through our existing relationship. They have purchased them off of the. Jillian can probably help me if she wants to, but there's the Texas cooperative that conversions off all the products off of throughout this. Yeah.
All right. My next question: earliest start date. This is an active subscription, right?
It is, and actually.
So we're sort of going back and it's a retro approval of sorts. that expires on the 22nd of September.
It did expire, actually expired, I believe it was earlier than that, but that's, Scientel paid it on behalf, so we're paying them at this point, which
All right,
is
okay,
nice to have
I see.
a partner that would do that for us.
And what plan of action are we doing? This thing expires next year, right?
Correct, so all of this with the entire network, the management of the whole network is up for renewal next year, or relook next year as to how we're gonna go forward. So the intent was to just bring this up current to the end of that, and then look at how we wanted to manage this going forward.
Will there be a proposal during the budget talks in regards to what the plan of action is?
Well,
is it too early?
we do have money to manage this in the talks. We have not gotten to the point, so this is not going to be up till June. We've not gotten to the point of going through what an RFP looks like and exactly what those expenses will be. No. We have a budgetary number for next year, but we don't know exactly what those will be until the RFP would go out.
All right, thank you,
We
Mayor.
chose to do that.
Any other questions on this agenda item? No further questions. This item will go on the consent agenda.
Thank you.
The clerk, please read the next item on the new business.
250698, a resolution approving the appointment of Michelle Neerman as Assistant Corporation Counsel 3.
Alderwoman Smith.
Yes, so in light of where we are with our budget and the conversations that we've had about hiring freeze, if our council could share with us the justification of hiring this individual, would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So currently our outside counsel costs total about about $750,000 for various outside counsel, not including the litigation costs. A large chunk of that, almost $300,000, is for costs related to labor and employment law. That includes all labor negotiations, all employment claims related to IDHR complaints, just day-to-day employment agreements, and dealing with whatever comes up employment-wise. My recommendation is that we bring in an experienced labor and employment attorney, Michelle Neerman, to handle that. I'm recommending that she come in 4 days a week, which is, that will be a, not quite full time. I think that there's more than enough work to keep her busy Monday through Thursday. I do want the option if there is, some more work, some during labor negotiations or whatever, there may be enough for her to be working 5 days a week, but I anticipate that 4 days a week will be sufficient. And I anticipate that, at 4 days a week, her salary would be around 140, just under 140, and that should cut some of these outside counsel costs that we are incurring. So the goal is to start cutting those expenses, and in some areas we can do that easily by bringing someone in-house, and I want to get that started before 2026. And in some areas it's not as easy to do because of the specialization and so forth.
May I ask?
Alderwoman Smith, go ahead.
So if currently it costs $750,000 plus other costs that you had said, what do you think, have you thought about what the savings would be if we have someone in-house versus always hiring outside like we currently do?
Well, for this item, this is just looking at labor and employment. So for those costs, those are in the like 250 to 300 range, depending on the year. Just going through the old bills I've seen from outside labor and employment law. So that should, by bringing someone in-house for 140, with another, there's a benefit package, et cetera, so it's not as much savings as we would like, obviously, but, I think, that's $100K or so a year. All right. For the other outside counsel costs, that is something that we're looking at. It is, part of it is that there's a lot of specialization. So bringing in one person to handle it won't won't be as clear cut because it's not just one area of law. Like employment and labor is kind of like a package deal that I have someone I can plug and play. But for some of the other specialties, it's not as easy. It's definitely on my radar though, and I'm looking at how else we can cut those outside counsel fees because that's a big chunk of change.
So overall, you see the savings of not necessarily the full $750,000 because that's other councils as well.
Well, that includes the labor and employment.
Includes that. Okay.
So
I think it was, what did you say, 250 to 300,000,
For
dropped down
the-
to 140 plus benefits.
Okay.
yeah.
So it depends on the year, and I think it was, the 300,000 is closer to what we actually spent. I don't think it was budgeted at that much.
There you go. Those are the numbers we need to talk about. Yeah, thank you. So that-
Yeah, so so it's closer to the 300,000 based on, and you have to understand that it's budgeted all over the place. So some of it is budgeted in human resources, but some of it's budgeted in police, and some of it's budgeted in fire, and so, like it's all over the place because everyone has different, union negotiations and labor questions and so forth that they're dealing with, and so those things get, the bills don't all come through my office. Frankly, they go all over the place. So some of that is just, by bringing it all to one location, we'll have one person dealing with all these questions and all of these matters that fall under labor and employment. That will allow us to, first of all, consolidate that to make sure that we're, instead of using multiple firms, multiple attorneys, it'll bring everything, to one location, one person, and I think it will save the city significant dollars.
Thank you.
100, 150.
Thanks for that,
Yeah.
for that explanation again, because I know you gave it to us before, so.
No problem.
I appreciate that. Consent.
Any other questions on this agenda item? No further questions. This item will go on the consent agenda. Okay. There's no need for a closed session, which everybody is probably happy to hear.
Motion to
Is there a motion to
adjourn.
adjourn this meeting? Motion made by Alderwoman Smith, second by Alderwoman Garza. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. This meeting is adjourned at 6:32 p.m.